What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Expected Bets. On today's episode, we'll be previewing the 12-game slate for Thursday, February 15th. Before we get into a few news and notes, let's bring in the rest of the crew. Betsky, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing good over here. Nice and sunny, beautiful out. Getting over a cough, though, or like a flu. It was super rainy last week, but can't complain.
No, it's like it's like that weird flu season too, and I mean, coughing in public now is just terrifying.
Yeah,
it's one of the worst things you can do. Really,
spitting on a stranger.
You're not allowed to at all. You're gonna get all the looks.
Franco, how we doing in Philly?
Hey man, I feel you. I've had a cough since like December, so this sucks. But I'm good, man. Flyers are hot right now. I went to the game this weekend with my kid. His first hockey game. It was awesome. He had the time of his life. We got to go rep to the bench where Coots was getting interviewed at the end of the game, and we're yelling Coots. So that's pretty awesome. Cool. It was pretty cool, man. Yeah. So he's in the hockey now. So that's awesome. Score one for the good guys.
You got to get him skating soon.
Hell yeah.
Start that whole path. Yeah. All right, here. Let's get into a few news and notes around the NHL. So Bedard, I think, is kind of the big news here. He's close to return from that injury here. Interestingly enough, so he leads all rookies with 33 points, but another guy who's kind of snuck up on that list is Brock Faber here. Obviously tonight, Wednesday, Minnesota takes on Arizona, I believe.
Yep.
And I think pretty much 90% of the NHL gambling community is on Faber points, so we'll see how that goes. But
thanks, Franco.
Yeah, nothing bad will happen here. I just hope he hits. But
yeah, me too.
He's been awesome, man. He's been awesome. I mean, you can't deny it. And defensemen to score obviously are going to be at a lower rate than a center on a top line on a bad team like Bedard is. So, obviously when Bedard comes back, he's probably going to surpass him. But will Faber's defensive abilities, and if Minnesota makes the playoffs, will that be enough to kind of get him that Calder? I don't know. I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Faber's still plus 3-1 right now to win the Calder. So we'll see. Bedard's still minus 200. So in terms of the odds change, I know, Franco, you got Faber at what, 7-1 earlier in the season?
Yep, 7-1 earlier. I think it was like when we got that podcast the one day we were talking about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sprinkle this guy. So I'm happy to have it in pocket, but it doesn't just feel like it's just inevitable that's going to be Bedard's. It's like it was decided when he was drafted, essentially, unfortunately, but we'll see.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. And part of me is like, am I just betting these things just to bet it because
to go against you want to go against it, it's like I don't want this.
In other news here, Morgan Riley suspended 5 games for that hit against Ottawa the other night, and obviously NHL Twitter kind of had varying opinions of it. Some were for it, some were against it, so I'm curious to see what takes you guys gonna have about it.
I really wonder if this was the playoffs, what would have happened?
Yeah.
That's always kind of my first thought here. Sorry, I'm trying to block the sun. I'll do it in a minute. But what a stupid move by Riley, regardless. I mean, check him into the boards, run at him a little bit, show that you're pissed, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, cross-check to the face isn't really... I mean, just for a slap shot on an empty net, and I get it, the whole thing of kind of the old-time hockey and everything, but at the same point, you're like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, you're going to get suspended for cross-checking him in the face. Like, anybody arguing against him getting suspended is an idiot. Like, come on, man. You can't do that. If he would have just checked him or, whatever, put his hand in his face, give him a couple shoves and stuff like that. That's something. But
just put him into the boards and they try to force him into dropping him or something like that. But just a complete cheap shot, kind of just straight cross check to the face there. I don't know. It's one of the more interesting situations I think we've had over the past few years in the NHL, because you really haven't seen that happen.
It just feels like a divide between like the new
old hockey,
school
Twitter,
and old hockey, right? Like,
yeah.
And I guess I get it to that extent, and everybody's, you know, the argument's like, oh well, you've never played hockey if you think that that's okay. It's like, dude, like you skated back at half speed, Riley, like, and this is a rivalry between these two, whether you want to admit it or not. It doesn't matter how crappy Ottawa's been this year. These two teams hate each other, so why not feed the fuel, you know, and just slap shot into an empty net. I think that's funny as hell, to be honest with you.
It is,
you know? Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, I agree there. And other news coming up here is the NHL trade deadline approaching. A lot of names suspected to be on the move here. Curious to see kind of who goes, who stays. Any kind of predictions here as we get to the trade deadline? I know Saros seems like he's been on the hot seat for the past 2 or 3. Gibson rumored to go as well in terms of net minding. But any other big names you guys are kind of looking at to be on the move here?
Wasn't Markstrom in the rumors for
Jersey?
and then
he got asked to waive his no trade clause.
And Hannafin too. We're supposed to both go to Jersey, is what the rumor was.
Wow.
That would be pretty good get for them. I feel like they've needed defensive help, so I would like that for them.
Mm-hmm.
You just wonder what the cost is going to be with like I feel like the prices for these trades have been insane so far to start. So is the market just going to be ridiculous, or is it going to kind of cool off because of it?
I feel honestly, I feel like it's going to be another pretty slow trade deadline, and we probably saw the biggest trades already. That's just kind of my feeling here. I do think last year was really closed off because of how good the draft was, and this year doesn't have kind of that same depth. So I don't think somebody sitting around 15th will be thinking they can get a player that they have rated in the top 10. So I could see more firsts being thrown around a little bit, but there's just not as many names. And then the UFA class doesn't look right either.
No,
I don't think there's still uncertainty of how much the cap's going up by. So I think a lot of people are, I don't know, going to hold. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. There's such a goalie shortage in the league, though.
We've kind of talked about this for the past 2 to 3 years. It feels like it just keeps getting worse and worse in terms of the top goalies separating themselves from everyone else.
And there used to be more quality ones, I feel, and I feel like that is a market that you would see a lot during the trade deadline, and you just don't see now because I mean, you almost need 2 good goalies now. You can't afford to have one pretty good one.
Yeah.
And there aren't many one pretty good ones. I mean, look at the Kings scenario right now. They would probably kill for a goalie. I mean, who are they going to get, you know?
Yep.
Even the Devils too.
Yep. Devils need one. I mean, yeah, we've harped on this a bunch. It's just there's not enough good goalies. They're just it's weird.
It's kind of becoming that way with defensemen in a little bit, in a strange way too. There's a lot of quality defensemen. There's not many available quality defensemen.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, the same. Yeah, the top one tier, like the top tier is completely. There's almost no tier. Like there's the giant separation between those top tier defensemen and kind of you say your tier 2 or tier 3.
Everybody else.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the difference between like a second pair defenseman and a third pair defenseman and like the 7th guy that's like sitting in the press box night to night is minimal, it feels like. Whereas the gap between 1s and 2s is just insane.
But yeah, well, to an extent, I feel like the second and third pairing guys aren't that far off. I think it's that's pulling up from the AHL. Your 7th D man is where the big jump begins on the other side of it. It's like the top guys, then kind of bottom 2 and second pair, and then And that's why I think, I mean, people are talking that Chris Tanev could pull a first.
That's insane.
You know, like
that's insane.
And it's just because there's not that many minute munchers that you can trust out there that you can actually acquire. that don't cost you too much.
I mean, that's what happened with Edmonton. That's what happened to the Kings too last year in the playoffs. You saw like the third pair defensemen getting no time. They were just like, you know what, forget these guys. I think Edmonton was starting like Desharnais. They're like, nah, we're not playing this guy at all. He played like 2 minutes in the one game. Dursey, I remember specifically because I was betting his blocks. The one game he had like 4 minutes or something ridiculous for the Kings in the playoffs last year. They were just like, I've seen enough. This guy's too much of a liability on the back end. We're just not rolling with him at all.
Yep. I felt like Forsling kind of got way less ice time.
Yep.
I feel like Hamilton wasn't shooting. I think he still had the same ice time, but they're just playing him in a different role.
Yeah. It changes so much, man. When playoffs start, it's a whole different thing. It's crazy.
In other news here, Stadium Series this weekend, which has been promoted just too much here. The NHL marketing department wins again. We have 2 games taking place, New Jersey, Philly, and the Rangers, Islanders. Obviously, I think pretty decent matchups in terms of trying to provide some quality content on kind of the main television during those prime hours. But, I mean, we were talking about before the show. Have you... like, where is this promotion really?
No idea. Maybe.
Yep.
I was gonna say maybe in the Philly, Jersey, New York area, but
yeah, it's at MetLife. But like,
to be honest, I knew it was coming up, but I didn't know when it was until you just told me it before the show. You're like, "Oh, you ready for the Stadium Series this weekend?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know it was this weekend," and I'm in the area, so that's crazy. I mean.
Like the Heritage Classics, the Stadium Series, like they need to cut down on them. I feel like just do one a year.
Yeah, they're just
one a year, market the shit out of it, like actually promote it, and then go from there. Right after, what is it, New Year's Day?
Yeah.
New Year's Day, like prime time, everyone's off, like 1 o'clock start, done. That's your lone outdoor game of the year. So we'll see what's going on there. And obviously, last piece of news here, Phil Kessel eyeing a return to the NHL, working out with the Vancouver AHL team, maybe a reunion with Tocchet here. This man just refuses to give up his NHL career.
If he keeps on doing this, he may have more rings than Brady. If he were to win with Vancouver, it'd be his 4th. So...
it is just so fucking funny. Like when I saw that the other day and I was like, no, like who wrote this? And then it's all over at NHL.com and you're like, all right, I guess this is actually a thing here.
Yep.
So
well, at least he's in shape. He's in Phil Kessel shape, I'm sure, still. So he's ready.
Shape in quotation marks, because there is you can describe his shape in several words and none of them's particularly fit. But I mean, he's thrived, so can't really harp on him too much here. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, with all that, let's get into the games for tomorrow. The first one up, we have the Florida Panthers taking on the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo tomorrow. Florida's playing tonight versus Pittsburgh, so they're going to be on a back-to-back. They've been red hot as of late, 6-1 in their last 7 games, and Buffalo coming off that surprising win last night against the Kings, 7-0. I don't think anyone really saw that. I tweeted out this team makes absolutely no fucking sense in terms of betting on them. Completely kind of stay away in terms of sides for this team. They play the Kings. They'll play Florida tomorrow. Then they'll play Minnesota, and then they have a 3-game stretch of Montreal, Columbus, and Anaheim. And I said the biggest Sabres move would be to beat the Panthers, beat the Kings, beat the Wild, and then lose 3 straight to Montreal, Columbus, and Anaheim. Yeah. So if that happens, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Anytime this team is a favorite, I wouldn't touch them. Yeah. Agreed. I think some newsworthy stuff here in this game is Rodriguez, Montour, and Reinhart, ex-Sabres here, returning to this game. Their point parlay tonight was plus 390. 395, yeah. So I'm curious to see what that price is tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be a little bit lower, but that could be a look for sure. But I'll start with you here, Franco. Any looks in Florida Buffalo?
I don't know, man. The Sabres coming off a shutout, so maybe we'll get some better prices, right?
What a transition of UPL from last year when everyone's play. It is the most insane thing of Levi's now lost. Like we just can't get two goaltenders to be on the same page at all.
So I mean, do we buy UPL being good now, or is that just like a flash?
4 shutouts this season.
It's fake. I mean, he's been good recently though, right? Like besides
at the start of the year, he struggled a little bit.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, they waited all year to try to acquire a goalie. We knew going into the season that it was going to be a little bit dicey rolling with Levi as your starter and Comrie and whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like maybe they found something right now. I guess we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. Obviously,
we'll check in on Valentine's Day next year.
Yeah, exactly.
See how you feel.
Playoff hopes to start the year, and then Valentine's Day, they're all but gone. So it seems like the Sabre cycles for the last 11 years here. One Sabre that I do like tomorrow is JJ Peterka over 2.5 here. So he's averaged 4.5 shots on goal in his last 5-6 attempts during that span here. Florida's also 12th versus right wingers. So that's probably going to be my only kind of look on the Sabre side here. Greenway was obviously good, but he hasn't put really 2 performances back-to-back this entire season, and the team really hasn't either. So that's all I really have in terms of Sabre side for Hagee. Obviously, on Florida's side has been red hot in terms of over 3.5 shots on goal, hitting 4 or 5, so he's pretty hot. And then Rodriguez, 5 of 8 versus Buffalo, and Montour 4 of 6 versus Buffalo.
Yeah.
So those are the guys that I have. I don't know if you guys had any other looks in this one.
Yes. So I'm looking at the shots for those guys. I do like the points as well, but Rodriguez especially I know is crazy for shots against them. He averages 3.8 shots per game against them, which is pretty damn nice. Point wise is a little bit less, I guess you would say. I know he's been better recently. I'll probably do that point parlay. That sounds awesome. And Montour shots, I'm very intrigued by. He's been picking up recently. I know going into this year, we were excited for him to come back from the injury, and it seemed like he kind of just isn't the same this year as he was. But I think he's kind of rounding into form now, and we'll see. I'm kind of hoping he misses tonight and we get a better number on him tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I know he's 130 tonight, so we'll see where he's at. But if he's minus 130 or better tomorrow for 2 shots or 2.5 shots, I'll definitely hit him. I guess you got to take Reinhart goal, right? That's pretty much an auto bet at this point.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I'm surprised Florida's only minus 148. I know it's a back-to-back, but do we really trust the Sabres to string 2 wins together? I don't. So I don't even mind that, or Florida and Reg. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that pretty much. I like both those. I mean, the tough thing about the Sabres is the consistency all season is they've just not shown it. So then you're getting Florida at a decent price, especially if they lose tonight against Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, that'd be. I would love it if they put in a dud tonight, like they lose 4-2, 5-2, or something. That'd be great.
Yeah, 135 on DraftKings too for Florida right now. So I don't know if you want to sprinkle on that before that game starts in half an hour here. So that's all I have here. Moving along, we have Anaheim traveling to Ottawa. Ottawa minus 192 on the money line, over under 6.5 here. Anaheim 4-6 in their last 10, struggled since the All-Star break, going 0-2. Ottawa 7-3 in their last 10, look to be turning things around, and they've gotten out to a pretty good start after the All-Star break, winning their first 2 games from there. A few looks in this one for me, but I'll start it with you here, Betsky. Any plays in Anaheim, Ottawa?
Yeah, it's been fun being able to watch Ottawa finally kind of click. And man, you're just kind of like, we could have had this team all season because this is what you really thought we were going to see. I hope they keep on climbing up the standings and go into next season with a little bit more confidence because they're a fun team. But I mean, Brady's coming off a Hattie. I don't think he's going to take the foot off the pedal right now. So I'll probably go right back to his shots. I don't even know if you're going to get value at it because they'll either be 3.5 and 2 juiced or 4.5, which gets a little bit sketchy. But he's been looking awesome. The one thing that's tricky with Ottawa is the lines have been shuffling, so definitely take a look. after a big win like that. I
Yes.
don't, and with the way everybody produced, I think you may be able to get some good value. A guy who did not get a point last night on 5 Ottawa goals, who was playing on the top line and was minus 40 yesterday, is Drake Batherson, though. So you may get his point prop at a playable rate. It is the Ducks, so that may get a little inflated, but that will be a guy I check in on right away. And then Chabot assist has not been super consistent, but you get it at a great price, or his point even. I think it was minus 110 yesterday. I'm going to keep riding that. He's been a top producing defenseman in the entire league in the past, has been really in and out of the lineup this year, and you're going to get really good prices because of it. He's kind of one of those guys, don't look at the chart and just trust the matchup and the player here. But
yeah, I'm curious to see what history he has against Anaheim as well.
Pinto's been fantastic too. Both
yes,
shots and points.
That's my guy tomorrow for sure. I'm gonna be on him again.
Yeah,
he's been great, man. I mean, it seems like he's kind of coming into a nice zone with him right now, and
yeah,
that line's been better. Obviously, Greg had his fun thing the other day, but I think I saw that Pinto was at like 0 shots midway or towards the end of the second period, and I was like, oh, here we go. Of course, the night I bet him he's not going to hit, and then all of a sudden I check later and he has 4. I'm like, oh, nice. So got the point, got the over 2.5 shots. So if we're getting him around even money again on both of those props, I like them both. So that for sure. One weird one, I don't know why this is. Jacob Chikrin, 6 goals in 9 games against Anaheim. I don't know why that is.
Weird. I mean, Arizona, so you used to
Arizona, yeah, as I say.
Well, but wait, we've been in the Central for a couple of years now.
Yeah, but why that team of like you don't see that type of number for defensemen?
No.
If he was a forward, I would say, yeah, sure.
He did have a hat trick in one of those games.
He had a hat trick. Okay.
So it's really hitting in two of 6
games, he's probably
but
exactly. He's probably not consistent, but still, I mean, that's pretty impressive. 9 points overall in 9. So I mean,
yeah,
if you can get his point prop, that's probably close to even money, I would assume.
Yeah.
The one thing you have to account for too in terms of history here, Anaheim and Ottawa haven't played since 2002.
Oh wow,
2002?
Yes.
Wait, that can't be right.
That doesn't. You mean 2022?
2022. Sorry. Yes. 2022.
Okay.
Yes. No. 2022. Excuse me. Yes. So yeah, I saw that. I was going through the game and I saw that and I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting here, but it makes sense, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, even a Tarasenko point on that. So on Daily Faceoff, they have him on the 3rd line here with Pinto and Greg. But if you look at the minutes from the last game, they were playing 2nd line minutes. They had so only pretty much 2 minutes behind that top line as well. So I don't mind Tarasenko, Pinto again for that point there, that little parlay as well. So
yeah,
if you're trying to match up lines.
Tanks and trade deadline rumors too, so a lot of people think he's kind of like trying to showcase
even
himself.
Chabot too. Trade deadline rumors.
Yeah, they gotta hold. I mean,
yeah, I think they acquired all these players. Why the hell
but...
would you? Yeah, Tarasenko, I feel like you could get rid of, but all these other guys, why would you sell them now? The team's still young around them.
Yep, and they're kind of a goaltender away, like Buffalo and so many other teams.
Buffalo's got more issues than just a goaltender. It seems like that whole defensive core is a mess. The other thing too, obviously, Giroux over 2.5. He's 7 of 8 at home and 7 of his last 10 overall. And then you can throw him on for the point there as well. But yeah, that's kind of the only looks I have in this one. Any other looks for you guys?
I think my only concern is how the Ducks come out, because they were pitiful against Montreal. I think they had like 16 shots. So this may be a game where they really push back. So you may want to just see if there's any weird history there, or somebody like McTavish or somebody who you can get some good value on. And Henrique Point's been pretty well placed for the amount he's hitting, another trade deadline guy. So I would go shopping on the Duck side a little bit. once I kind of get comfortable with the charts and seeing how they've been trending and whatnot. But I don't know if they're just going to roll over and die again, because that was an awful performance, even for a rebuilding team.
That's kind of how I'm feeling about them. I mean, none of them really pop on the historics that I'm seeing. And that kind of just has me worried that this is just going to be another brutal beatdown that they're going to have. I could see like a 5-2, 4-1 type of game, and just where you don't want to be any part on the Ducks side.
Yep.
As I'm trying to look last time. Oh, so the Ducks were shut out early January, and they responded with a 5-3 loss to San Jose. So,
nice.
I don't know necessarily if bounce back's the right word we're going to use here, but yeah.
I don't know, man. These teams that are just bad right now, I feel like you don't want to be trying to get cute and play them. This is the part of the season where like the bad teams are just going to be bad. I mean, look at Chicago last night. Vancouver's in a terrible spot, and they still like nothing. So
All right, moving along here. Next game up, we have Colorado traveling to Tampa Bay. A little bit better matchup in this one. Tampa Bay minus 118 on the money line, over under at 6.5. Juice way to the over here, minus 135. We think we're going to see a 7 in this game. We haven't really seen too many totals of 7 as of late, it seems like, in the NHL. Earlier this season we had a bunch, but I was trying to remember. As of late, I don't think we've really seen a few. In terms of the current status of these teams, Tampa Bay has been on a hot streak here, 7-3 in their last 10. Colorado's gotten off to a terrible start since this All-Star break, 1-4. I know they lost their first one, and then they played the Devils in that second matchup. Figured they'd rebound, and they kind of laid another dud in that one, tied it up, but couldn't close the deal here. A few Tampa Bay player props pop for me here, but I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Franco, I'll start with you in this one.
Yeah, I feel like same idea here. I mean, this isn't a bad team, Colorado, but right now they're not playing well, and I'm not looking to step in front of Tampa. I know they're kind of in that hairy spot of returning from a home trip or a road trip and coming home, and usually that's a fade spot, but I feel like Colorado just doesn't have that chemistry or whatever's going on right now. It's just not working. They're kind of getting in their own way. Productivity's down a little bit as far as scoring and stuff. They did have that win the other night, but I mean, they just don't look that good right now. I guess you'd say that maybe that game was the spark and they come back, but Tampa at home is just a different beast, right? So I would want to be on Tampa's side here as far as props and stuff like that go. That Hagel Cirelli line is what's popping for me. 5 points for Hagel and 7 against them, 5 and 5 for Cirelli. So that's probably where I'd look. You're going to get good value there as well as far as pricing. So that's probably where I'm at. I don't mind Kucherov's shots as well. He's averages almost 5 a game against them. I know he's going to be a higher price guy. So maybe you just go right to 4.5 and just start there with them. That might be pretty good value.
Yeah, no, I like that look for sure. And it's interesting. So Colorado's on their 6th game. This will be their 6th game of a 7-game road trip to start the All-Star break. So that's kind of a brutal spot to be in general. They'll play one more game against Detroit. But Betsky, any looks for you in this one?
Yeah, Point is much better at home with his shots. So that's probably where I'm going to lean, even if it's a little juicy. Maybe at least use it for a parlay piece, because Colorado's been starting to really kind of allow a lot more shots on this road trip, especially. Colorado just do not look right either. So McKinnon, I played his 2 points and in his shots last game against the Capitals. Both came through, but this feels like when they went into Florida this weekend and McDavid got completely shut out. It's tough watching this team with some of the most superior talent in the NHL not be able to do their thing right now. It's kind of disappointing to watch, and it's partially because their cap issues and injuries and what the lack of flexibility with the roster. But I mean, really, your choices are McCarr, Rantanen, or McKinnon. Lehkonen finally scored. But
ever since Georgiev won that $100,000 in that NHL shootout competition, he's it's gone to his head. It appears he's been a different guy after that break in his last. Yeah, I mean, Colorado looks like a completely different team here, and especially defensively, kind of started with their goaltending. I mean, what 3, 4, 5, and 5 goals against as of late, which is insane too. And it was a nice rebound win against Washington the other night, but I don't know if that momentum is going to carry over to Tampa Bay here, who looks really, really good.
Yeah.
I know they've had their struggles this season, but yeah, it's tough to fade Tampa Bay in this spot.
I'm curious to see how much the lines move on this one, and what is the reg win for Tampa?
Tampa money line is -118.
Yeah.
So.
Tampa
beautiful.
Reg,
okay.
Tampa Bay and reg is +115.
I mean, I would borderline jump on that money line right now. That reg one's really tempting too. I mean, are they going to start Georgiev again?
I would think so. I don't.
They don't
think
have
much
another
confidence
choice.
in it. They're not going to play him too much. I wouldn't think. The only hesitation I have is, like I said, that's technically that bad spot for Tampa, right? Long road trip coming home.
Yeah.
Usually you want to fade that team, but I mean, it's not like Colorado's been good, so that would be my only hesitation. But the price is right. Tampa at home is just a whole different beast, man. They're so good.
Yeah, that line has moved 8 cents since the opening here on DraftKings looking at it. So clearly heading in Tampa Bay's direction. So -118, probably not a bad price to get it at. A few other books opened up around -120. So, and then going back to your point shots on goal here, he's hitting 2 of his last 3 versus Colorado. So I'd like that as well. I had that play circled.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wanted to kind of look at a little bit more of the finer details and print of it. Another guy that's been really good for Tampa at home is Eisbont. So I think his line's usually 1.5. So again, more of a parlay piece, but now Sergachev list Tampa is kind of scary too, but they still got.
He's such a huge loss, man. That sucks. Feel bad for that guy.
But I still look at their blue line, and I think I trust him more than Colorado's right now.
Yeah.
Hedman, Cernak, Prebix has been good for them. Rash is all right, stapled to Hedman. Maybe Colorado's is a little bit stronger, but the goaltending's night and day.
Yeah. I was looking at Paul as well on that line with Hagel and Cirelli, trying to see if anything popped for him, and I don't think his history is great against Colorado. So I do like the Hagel and Cirelli points on that as well. I mean, Hagel's been great at home, 7 of his last 10. So I think it's the prime spot to fade Colorado. Next game up here, we have the Flyers at the Leafs here. Flyers look damn good following this all-star break here. 4-game win streak. Toronto 6-4 in their last 10 here. These teams did play last month where Toronto won 6-2. I don't have a ton of looks in this one in terms of player props. The only guy I really would kind of look at here is Tavares' shots, but Philly's been so good in terms of limiting scoring chances and shooting ability. So I don't love the play, but that's kind of the only guy that popped for me on the Toronto side. But I'm curious to hear what your plays are in this one. Betsky, do you have any?
Well, with the Tavares angle too, him and Marner were out last game with illness, and if it was anything like what's been going around, man, you may want to kind of hold off a little bit more too.
Vegas had the same thing too. Vegas had a bunch of the illness as well.
They've been getting down with the sickness. If Tavares is out though, Domi really stepped up with his shots last game, so that would be a piece I'd probably be looking at as far as the Toronto side. I do like Tippett a lot. I do love Konechny. I like them a little bit better at home. This is going to be one I'll probably have to dig around a little bit more in, but Toronto managed to handle kind of a hot St. Louis without Riley and the
Pesky.
Marner Tavares.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be the same here. I kind of like Philly. Philly
like
and Ender,
it.
maybe.
Yeah. Franco, any looks for your Flyers here? I know we talked about one of these guys last game. And of course, he hit and didn't play it. So any looks in this one?
Yeah, I'm probably Konechny point if it's bettable. And I know typically it's not, but I'm thinking maybe given the matchup and being a road game, we might get like minus 140 on it. We'll see. If not, I don't mind his assist. He has 6 assists in 6 games versus them, 4 in his last 3 as well. So he's been kind of dishing, which is kind of, a little outside of his realm of what we're used to seeing from him, being more the goal scorer. But I've kind of been on record saying, like, generally I don't really want to be betting Flyers point props and stuff like that because they're getting scoring from kind of everybody. So it's not like a consistent thing where you can feel very confident about a certain player getting points. Morgan Frost has been great. Recently, I feel like he was in the doghouse to start the year for them, and it was one of those things where Torts was giving the typical Torts tough love and all that fun stuff. So I think he's starting to kind of get into gear a little bit. He's starting to show flashes of that, first rounder that he was drafted as. And I've seen a couple of times in the last few games where he's made some nice moves to gain zone entries and create some chances and stuff like that. So I think he's starting to gain that confidence. So I don't mind taking a look at him as well. But yeah, as far as point props go, it's kind of for me. I on the Flyer side at least, Sealer blocks is something that I keep looking at, keep not betting, and it keeps hitting. And I feel like Toronto is the type of team where you would want to have a Flyers block player target. He's usually 2.5 plus money, so I'm definitely going to look at that. I want to see kind of what his recent game log is. I didn't look at that before the show, but it seems like that guy is just constantly taking pucks. Like, he's ridiculous. He just, seriously, man, he's an animal. So I love the way that guy plays. But I'm kind of hesitant on this Toronto side with what you said about the players. But I mean, Tavares 2 points looks fantastic. 10-5 against them. 5 goals, 5 assists. Marner 10 points and 6 against them. 9 of them being assists. So again, you could look 2 points there. I doubt his assist proc's going to be bettable. And even Nylander 9 points and 6. So, I mean, the stats say that Toronto is going to kill them, but like you said, this is a different Philly team. So you have to kind of take that stuff with a grain of salt. They're not the team that's just a pushover with a terrible defense and giving up 1,000 shots like they were the last few years. So I don't want to be on side really, but those would be the picks I would look. I think Steelers probably my favorite one. Steeler, that connecting assists would probably be my favorites.
Any looks for Morgan Frost in this one? He's been pretty hot in terms of points, and you can
that's a
bettable rate.
Yeah, I like how he's playing, but again, it's just one of those things where like they just get so much depth scoring. But 4 points in those last 3. And he just looks good, man. So I don't mind it. If you get plus money, which you're probably going to against Toronto, I don't mind it.
Yeah, no, I like that as well. We'll get back to the games in a minute, but first, I want to talk to you about AG1. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why, for the past 2 years, I've been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It's just 1 scoop, mixed in water, once a day, every day, and it makes me feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and much more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. I like to drink AG1 first thing in the morning, which is recommended for optimal nutrition absorption. I fill up my shaker with extra cold water, add 1 scoop of AG1, shake it up, and I'm ready to go. If I'm running short on time and can't mix my AG1 before heading out, I'll grab a travel pack. It's an individual serving of AG1 that's easy to mix on the go, helping ensure I get my daily nutrients no matter what. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1. And that's why I've partnered with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3+K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/expectedbets. That's drinkag1.com/expectedbets. Check it out. All right, now back to the show. Next game up here, we have Edmonton at St. Louis here. Edmonton 8-2 in their last 10, 2-2 since the break here, coming off a nice win. St. Louis 7-3 in their last 10, 2-1 since the break, and they are coming off a loss to Toronto here. Speaking of block shots, that's funny that you brought that up on the last game here. I have a block shots looked here tonight of Darnell Nurse over 1.5 here. He's cleared in 4 of his last 5 and in 4 of his last 5 on the road as well. So, and pretty bettable price. I think it was around -120, -110 as well. So that was kind of another guy that I liked in this one. I have a few other plays, but I'll start with you in this one, Betsky. Any looks in this matchup?
I was all about that top line for St. Louis yesterday against Toronto, and it did not come through. St. Louis has looked really great lately, and that last game worried me a little bit. And again, they'll be coming home after being in Toronto. I feel like this is kind of a trap, and this is going to be an easy Edmonton steamroll, but I also hate Edmonton props on the road.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to catch the right guys. Really, the only guy that I've been trusting lately is Evander Kane, though, who has been pretty damn consistent lately. So I'd be looking at his shots, but I don't love this match. I don't have a great read on which direction St. Louis is going right now, or I'd probably feel a little bit more confident going on with like a Rob Thomas assist or Kyrou shots or points. But Edmonton's just been suppressing everything on top of it. They're like a completely different team on the road. Normally I would say slam McDavid 2 points, but on the road he's not hitting. So honestly, I don't have too many plays that I love here. This is kind of one of those games I may just stay away unless we can kind of dig up some gems right here.
So you mentioned Evander Kane. That was the guy I liked as well. So he's cleared in 4 of his last 4, 5-5 on the road. And St. Louis does give up the 3rd most shots on goal to wingers in their last 10 games here. So that's going to be kind of one of my looks here as well. Draisaitl, point production as well, 3 of his last 5. But again, on the road, that kind of dips a little bit. So Franco, any looks for you in this one?
Yeah, I actually have a good amount here.
I like it.
So maybe you'll find something you like out of this, Betsky. So I do like Kane. I want his goal though, man. If his point is bettable, I don't know if that's going to be. I assume it's not. 4 goals in his last 3, and historically 5 and 9 against them, averaging over 3 shots a game against them too. So 9 total points in those 9 games. He's playing with Draisaitl, who we know is just, we know what he is. So he has 6 assists in 6 games against them as well. So that kind of adds to it. I do like Hyman goal as well. 4 goals in 6 games against them. He's kind of been picking it up as well. 2 goals in his last 3. He's averaging 3 shots a game as well. And obviously, McDavid had 6 assists the other day. And, it's McDavid. I mean, come on. That's all I got to say really there.
Insane.
On the St. Louis side, though. So I am kind of on your side here, Betsky, as far as wanting to kind of take a step back here. Thomas does pop for an assist against them, and I hammered Thomas yesterday, and he did nothing. And it's just, I feel like this is one of those prime examples, though, right? Where you bet a player, they miss. They're a guy that hits 90% of the time, and he will he's gonna have 2 assists tomorrow or something stupid, right? And we're not gonna bet him. When push comes to shove, you're putting that card together tomorrow and you post it, he's not making the cut because he burned you yesterday. So maybe this is my reminder to not do that, and maybe at least one of us will post it.
Next day betting.
I feel like it is a thing, man, and it's hard because it's that emotion of like, screw you, dude, like you burnt me, know, and it just, so I kind of want to do it. I kind of want to go back to him, so I'm considering it. Shen point looks good as well. I keep looking at him and not betting him, and he keeps recording freaking points, and I don't get it really. Yeah, he's been solid, and 4-4 against Edmonton historically, so looks good. And the last one, another block shot prop. So you brought it back up with Nurse.
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking at Parayko. Since Falk's gone out, he's been picking it up. He has had a few misses in games that you wouldn't expect him to, including the one against Toronto. He had none, which I don't really get. But typically against high shooting teams, high volume teams, he's getting like 4 or 5 blocks, which is pretty awesome. Considering you're going to get his 2.5 line, probably close to even or plus money. So that's where I'm going to be looking as well.
You didn't mention his offensive side as well, which also pops. So his shot line's at 1.5 here. He's cleared in 7 of his last 10 at home, 6 of his last 10 overall, and then 6 of his last 9 versus Edmonton as well. So he's another guy that oddly enough, I mean, you really wouldn't expect it in terms of offensive production. But yeah, that was kind of one that I liked as well. All right, next game up here, we got Dallas at Nashville here. Nashville plus 110, home dog in this one. Over under set at 6.5 here. Nashville's been terrible defensively as of late, allowing 4 goals in each of their last 5 years. Saros pretty much giving up an average of 3.5 over the span as well. Lot of stars props pop for me in this one, so I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. I'll start with you here, Franco.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. Definitely, I want to be on the star side. The histories are like insane for the top guys. Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski look incredible against them. Lots of games played, lots of points, good amount of shot props and stuff, or shot volume as well. So liking that right off the bat. But you know where I'm going here. Duchesne revenge, of course.
Yep.
Give me all of them.
Shots on goals. Over 1.5 has been great.
Yeah, I mean he's been great regardless. So it's kind of like a twofold thing where you have like good form coming into it, and you have a good motivator, I guess you would say. Daily Faceoff the other day had a video released I sent you guys where he does an interview with Frank Saravalli where he's talking about how he was completely blindsided by the news that he was being bought out, and it's kind of crazy. He said that he wanted to retire in Nashville and had like a whole plan to stay there and everything. So this guy's going to be motivated, and again that line's been great. So if I can get his point prop straight, that would be fantastic. I don't think that's realistic expectation though, so probably going to parlay it with something to get the juice down. I don't really want to go like assist or I'm saying for
a whole line point parlay. That line is
terrific. I mean, I kind of want to bet them straight. Like I kind of want to bet Marchment straight as a separate though. You know what I mean? Like I
do Sagan Duchesne and then do Marchment straight.
Yeah, I might do that. Or even honestly, like Robertson has 22 points in 17 games against them, which is just freaking ridiculous. So like that's what I was kind of considering just to like get it to bettable. But yeah, I mean, I love Duchesne point. Probably gonna go with his shots as well. And like I said, I love Marchment point. Yeah, all up maybe. Yeah, I don't mind.
Probably not past 3, but he keeps on hovering between 1.3 or 1.5 and 2.5. So
yeah, and honestly, like it seems like I think I said this on the last one with these revenge ones. It's the guy returning to the place where he's traded from as opposed to playing at home is different. So like he's in Nashville, there's gonna be that extra motivation to, stick it to them back in his old barn, so to speak. So another guy that's been popping is Harley, man. I mean, he's been great. They finally gave us his point prop. They finally gave us a shot prop. I'm really interested in both of those, depending on where they're at. And to be honest, like I'm not that interested in the Nashville side. Ottinger's been fantastic. If anything, it'd be UFC point, but I honestly, at the end of the day, I don't want to even look at Nashville's side when it really comes down to it. Just give me all the Dallas props.
Speaking of block shots, Ryan McDonough, 7 of his last 10 overall and 7 of his last 10 at home here. You figure Dallas comes out hot here in this one. They're going to be firing a ton. Their shots have been up as of late. So that's kind of the only Nashville prop that I really like here. That whole line of Sagan, Duchesne, and Marchment, they each have points in their 7 of their last 10 games. Marchment, 4 of his last 4 on the road. And then even Heiskanen, too, shots on goal here. He's hitting 4 of his last 6 and 6 of his last 10 on the road here. So That's what I have. Oh, and Pavelski as well. He's been
Yep.
great at that 1.5 line, but that's really kind of a parlay piece at this point. Can't really take that straight. So that's all I have in this game. Any other looks in this one?
No, I think we covered almost all of them. I'm on the same boat here of the going all in on Dallas. Heiskanen's been awesome too, though.
Yes.
I don't want to overstate that. His shot attempts have been wild, and if it's easy to forget that he was one of the best shot props last season for a very big chunk. So I'm very, very happy that he seems to be coming back to form and we get a great price on him every night. Yeah, this game's going to be fun. It's like Duchesne is like opening up a rivalry between these two teams. So,
yeah. The other thing too, you mentioned attempts here. The one guy that attempts have popped in the past 5 is Forsberg. So in his last game, he had 6.
yeah.
Before that, he had 16. Then 10, then 5, then 14. So his numbers are starting to go back up here. And yeah, he's been better at home this year as well. I think he's had in 4 of his last 6 at home.
Yeah, and Dallas is top 10 in both shots for and shots against in the last 10 games. So yeah, and Nashville, I believe, is a top 10 team in shots shots for too. So both goalie saves could be something worth monitoring too. Dallas is number 2 in shots for over the last 10. Nashville is number 7. And then shots against.
Yeah, you look at Dallas's last 10 games here. So last game versus Carolina dipped a little bit, but as we said before, Carolina can kind of adjust their style of play to match their opponent.
Yeah.
Before that, they have been averaging like 35 to 37 shots for per game, which is insane. And they've also been giving up close to 30 plus a game as well.
Yep.
So
nice worse.
So with that being said, the over, Saros has struggled. Ottinger's been good. Are you kind of looking at maybe a Dallas team total here?
I think Dallas team total would probably be pretty spicy, right?
I mean, Dallas money line is only minus 130, which seems kind of crazy to me. I mean, do either of you think Nashville wins this game?
No,
not really. I mean, you look at the
because
last few
Dallas team total
faced,
over 3.5 is plus 110, so you get a little more value there. But that's 4 goals, you know. I feel like Ottinger's been so good, you don't even want to worry about that. You just take the money line at minus 130.
I think this is the team that's like clearly to me looks the best in the Central. And you're not maybe you could argue the Jets before this losing streak, but I think they look better than any other team in the Central has looked all season at where Dallas is right now.
Yeah,
they look very, very scary.
I agree. Their scoring depth is great. Their blue line looks great, and they have a goalie, which is not a lot of teams can say that right now.
No.
Harley's been really that missing link too. I think we talked about how in the playoffs they felt so one-dimensional, but now they finally have 2 puck movers, which really has helped.
Heiskanen's time on ice too in the playoffs was insane as well. I remember just watching that. It was like 25 a night. They just kept rolling them out there.
Because they couldn't roll out Hakanpää at all. They're like petrified of having him skate.
All right, last game up on the slate here. We got Detroit traveling to Vancouver. Vancouver minus 180 on the money line. Over under at 6.5 here. Detroit 6-4 in their last 10. Vancouver 7-3 in their last 10. These teams did play 4 days ago, where Detroit won 4-3 in overtime. We know where that leans. Vancouver in regulation here is a bounce back spot. This team's been fantastic. And I think they get the revenge spot here. Not many player props for me here. So I'm curious to hear what your guys' angle is in this matchup here. I'll start with you, Betsky.
I may be looking at Miller or Pettersson or Hughes 2 points, or maybe doing, a third of a unit on each and see if
Pettersson assist.
Get it. Yeah, Pettersson assist. I don't know. He always worries me because he got a hell of a shot, and Without Kuzmenko around, it seems like there's a little less just pure goal scorers on that team right now. But not saying that's a bad look at all. I mean, maybe one of each. But I feel like Detroit may not be able to bounce back from the spanking they received from Edmonton that easily. And Lions has been fantastic for them, but it's kind of like the Kings. It's like at some point here, you have to revert back to the mean at some point. Maybe it is not until next season, like Copley was for a while, but I just don't trust them yet. And I think we haven't even seen the best of this kind of new Vancouver offense with Lindholm in it yet. And this could be a first game back at home after the trade. This could be a big one.
Yeah. Possible new teammate, Phil Kessel, as well.
Yes.
Start taking that. Hronek over 1.5 shots on goal. Not sure it's be bettable tomorrow. He's hitting 7 of his last 10, each of his last 3 at home. So that might be a look that I kind of dive into tomorrow. Assists
too, because I mean he's former Red Wings and he lit them up last game. So yeah.
Franco, any looks for you here?
I love the Hronek look, man. He's back. I mean, this was a dude that was hitting his point prop every night for like that one stretch early in the season.
Games.
Yeah.
And then he's just like gone. Like where the hell did that guy go? I mean, I looked before that game against Detroit a couple of days ago. I looked at him because I'm like, oh, nice. Hronek revenge. Let's see how he's done recently. Like, I haven't even thought about that guy. And it was like no points. It was like 1 point in his last 20 games or something ridiculous. I'm like, there's no way I can bet this. I can't do it. I just physically can't. And of course he scores, gets an assist, and I felt like an idiot. You know, it's one of those things where you just trust it. It doesn't matter if the recent form. And so, I mean, his point prop's probably going to be pretty bettable alone, let alone the assist. I would assume it would be pretty nice plus money. I like that. But I do want to give a little bit of hesitation here. Again, this is that bad spot, right? Vancouver hasn't played at home since January 28th. 5-game long road trip. This is always that bad spot, right? So I have a little bit of hesitation here and getting Detroit plus 150, knowing I'm probably going to get Lyon, who's been the better goalie, or who he actually got injured in that game. So he's probably gone for a while now. But I don't know. I kind of want to back Detroit, even though I mean I know who the better team is, right? Like there's no question here, and I agree that at some point the wheels are going to fall off with Lyon as well. But he has been good. Obviously, that Edmonton game was not, but that's Edmonton, and he came off the bench cold, due to the injury and stuff like that. So I don't really want to take too much stock into that game as far as his performance there. But maybe I'll just back a couple Detroit props just instead of taking the money line. Perron looks pretty good at 5 points in 6 games against them. I don't know if Patrick Kane's going to be bettable at all, but maybe look at there. Sprong's been pretty good recently, 3 points in 3 games. So those are a couple guys you can kind of look at that are going to be, I would assume, pretty good value given the matchup. And I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, Hronek too hit this last game versus Detroit, his point and shots on goal there as well. So I like that. And then going off Perron, 6 of his last 10 on the road. So that might be not a bad look if you're kind of looking to get some action on the Detroit side of things here. Any other plays for tonight here?
No.
Feel pretty good about what we got.
Yeah. I was looking at to see when the next time the Islanders played too. Wah gave him a bag skate today, and I think the last time they did that, they came out on fire. So I don't know if they play Friday. Not sure. I'll have to check that out. But
there's only one game on Friday, so they may have bag skates till Saturday.
No, they don't play until Saturday. No, they don't even play Saturday. Wow. So they're,
Oh, shit.
they're off for a while. Yeah.
God.
Oh,
Bag skate
yeah.
every day.
Their next game at home is the Stadium Series.
Oh, man. Oh,
So back to the Islanders in that game, huh?
Yeah.
maybe.
Plus 126. The line's already out.
Huh.
So, yeah. All right. You guys want to shout out your socials?
Yeah, Franco the Banker on Twitter.
And I'm Gretzky Betskis on Twitter and part of the Parlay Science Discord.
Awesome. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Gator Betting and our podcast at Expected Bets 4. We appreciate everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week.